All right, so what I'm gonna show you guys how to do today is, with my Asian knife, we're gonna do a fried rice, okay? Now I'll tell you this, I started cooking fried rice for a client of mine. I had never made fried rice before, so I just kind of started doing it in my own way. And one day, one of his old chef, who was Asian actually, came by for dinner, and he's like, "What are you making?" I said, "I'm making fried rice." He's like, "That's not how you make fried rice." I said, "That's how I make fried rice." And everybody loves my fried rice. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's the Rami way, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it today. So I have my mise en place in place, and for those of you that don't know French, mise en place is basically just having your ingredients in place, having them ready to cook. So we have peas, sesame seeds, butter, eggs, soy glaze, soy sauce, and rice. With rice, for fried rice, you need rice that's a day old, because you want it to be as dry as possible so that it gets that texture and that color when you fry it. And then what I'm gonna show you guys how to do is just chop a little bit here. So we're gonna do some green onions. And these green onions are just gonna go as a garnish, okay? Just a garnish on top. So we'll put those over here. And then garlic. I saute the garlic and the onions first. And then they don't have to be any particular way. We just do that and you just cut them up small like that. All right. And I love garlic, so we'll do probably 2 cloves of garlic. All right. All right, doesn't have to be too fine. You don't want it too fine like me. All right, cool. And now the ginger, the best way to peel ginger is to grab a spoon and just scrape the skin off, just like that. Okay, just comes right off. Easier than using a peeler. All right. So we'll take that, we'll move that to the side. And then I'm just gonna get a little bit of ginger. And then you chop it similar to the garlic. And it's gonna go in with the garlic and onions as well. All right. So I'll just put the ginger and the garlic together. I'll move this here to the side. And then the carrots, we want to dice them small. Want them similar in size to the peas. So we'll just half it a couple times. And then we'll just go thin here. Make sure they don't all fly away. All right, try and keep them a little bit more organized. I can get a little erratic sometimes. That's the Rami raw part. All right, go ahead and do this one too. And notice my knuckles are curved in. That's so in case the knife slips, it doesn't cut my fingers, which, you know, I've learned the hard way. I didn't go to culinary school, I learned in the streets. And in the streets, you lose a couple fingers if you don't pay attention. It's tough out there in those culinary streets. All right, so we have all that in place right there. I'll move that to the side so you can see the onion. Now, did you know that in Mexico, and I don't know other parts of the world, but in Mexico, the onions come like this, with no skin. So I go all the way to Mexico to get my onions. Not really though. All right, I'm gonna show you how to cut an onion without crying, okay? So this is the part that makes you cry, all right? So if you wanna save those tears for another day, anybody? Nobody? Okay, all right. So we're gonna cut the onion in half, and we're gonna put this face down like this. This is the part that makes you cry, so we're gonna save that for the end, all right? We're gonna slice horizontally 3 times, depending on the size of the onion, and then we'll go vertical because we're gonna dice it. And then now what we'll do is we'll just and then we'll turn it over and then just cut around the root. Okay? No tears. Only girls make me cry. All right, and see, this is the part that makes you cry, so we just throw it in the trash and we're good. So now we have everything ready to make our fried rice. We have our mise en place in place. We have the butter, the carrots, the peas, the soy sauce, the green onions. So the sesame seeds that I use, I like to use regular sesame seeds and wasabi sesame seeds. They're not too spicy, but I like to give it a little bit of color. Soy glaze, onions, garlic, ginger, day-old rice, and then eggs. The proper way to crack an egg. So a lot of people make the mistake of cracking an egg against a hard edge. What that does is it can potentially crack the membrane, and that's where you get all the shells. So you always want to crack against a soft surface, and then you get eggs with no shell. Oop, look at that, me. My muscles broke the membrane that time. But ideally you want to crack it against a soft or a flat edge. Okay? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use our olive oil here. And me being a Palestinian, I get olive oil straight from Palestine. Al-Ard, that means the land. So this is olive oil straight from the land. And if you haven't had Middle Eastern olive oil, it's the best in the world. You could literally just drink it. I think that's what they do over there when they wake up. That's why they live to be like 90 and don't work out. All right, so we have the oil there. And then we are gonna add the onions, garlic, and ginger. And we're gonna let that saute until it becomes aromatic and translucent, all right? So we'll let that toss around a little bit. I always look at these, whenever I toss a pan, I always look at it as like, these are my children. And if I lose a child, I get so upset, but all the children are secure after all these tosses, so that's very important to me because they all matter. All onions, garlic, and ginger matter. All right, so you gotta be careful when you're sauteing garlic because garlic can get bitter if it's burnt, and we don't want bitter garlic, all right? So because I cut them small, I mean, they're good right now, so now I'm gonna add in the carrots. And I'm gonna saute it a couple times. Again, nothing lost. I'm gonna let that cook down a little bit because once we add the peas are always frozen. So the frozen peas is gonna add a little bit of liquid to it, so it's gonna lose a little bit of the searing and cooking potential. I don't know. Sometimes you might want to Google what I say because it just comes from here and it might not be accurate, but it works for me. All right, still secure. All right, so we threw in the peas, and now we're gonna let it cook with the peas for a little bit. And then while we're waiting for that to cook down, I am going to whisk the eggs. Okay. Now, if you want to keep your fried rice somewhat healthy, you don't have to use butter. Butter is what gives the rice that brown color and kind of the texture and appearance of the fried rice. So I'm going to take my rice and I'm going to put it in here. And my oven just beeped at me, but it's good. Okay. And I'm going to mix that around a little bit. And I am doing this all on high heat because I'm never leaving the pan. So I can watch it and make sure nothing bad happens. None of these kids get burnt. Now keep in mind, you could always, this dish you can add any protein you want, chicken, shrimp, steak. If you wanted to add the protein, you would ideally add it before you add the rice while you're sauteing all the vegetables and onions and garlic. Oh no, we lost one. All right, and now we're going to add the butter. All right, we'll let the butter melt in there a little bit. All right. See how the rice now starts to, can you hear it? Popping. So, and then once the butter completely melts, we're gonna add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I try not to add too much salt because the soy that we're gonna add is pretty salty, so if you put too much, it might get a little too salty. And plus, people can always add however much salt they want. Okay, so the butter's melted, and now we're gonna dump in the soy. Just a little bit, about a little more than a tablespoon. And now it's getting that color we like, that brown color, from the combination of the butter and the soy. Okay, now before I add the eggs, now some people, there's a few different ways they do this, right? If you go to a hibachi place, you'll crack the egg and flip it in there. I actually kind of like to move everything to the side, okay? And I like to do my egg similar to it would be done with an omelet, okay? So I'm going to take a little bit of butter. I like to do it similar to like omelet style, so I'm going to take a little bit of butter, probably too much butter right there. I'm going to put it down, okay? And I'm going to take it off the heat a little bit. And I'm going to take the egg and I'm going to put it on the side here. And I'm going to work the egg first. Okay. Work the egg first, and then I'm going to mix it in. That way you have a fully mixed egg in all parts without it being overcooked. And then once I put the egg in, I turn off the heat because nobody likes an overcooked egg. Okay? So that is the finished product in the pan right there. And now the way I like to plate it is I'll take a little bit of soy glaze and I'll just line a rectangular or a round bowl with a little bit of soy glaze on all sides. And then I will take the fried rice and I'll dump it in the bowl. Oh, I'm losing a lot of kids here. It's okay, it's for TV. Oh no, sorry kids. Don't make a mess like me, okay? But cook like me, don't make a mess like me. There's a bunch of people offset who are gonna clean this up. The second I step out, it's like a whole cleaning crew. Okay, all right, so now, and then what we're gonna do is we'll press that down. Okay, and I'm gonna take my other plate, I'm gonna flip it over like that, and then we'll let it rest just a second. And then we'll pick it up. And then we're gonna garnish it with our sesame seed blend. And then some green onions. And there you have it, a raw fried rice, which you'll actually be able to order at Raw Me Raw to Go, available soon on Uber Eats and DoorDash.